It started with a letter, crisp and cream-colored, tucked among the usual bills and flyers in James Harper's mailbox. The embossed seal of the Willow Grove Homeowners Association gleamed under the afternoon sun, and James felt a familiar weight settle on his shoulders before he even opened it. He knew that seal, and he knew who'd likely pen the words inside. Cassandra Holt, the HOA's iron-fisted chairwoman. Sure enough, the letter was a masterpiece of bureaucratic venom, typed in cold, sharp font, addressed to him at 14 Maple Lane. It cited a violation and oil stain on his driveway, a smudge no bigger than a dinner plate, left by his buddy Tom's old truck during a weekend repair. The letter demanded immediate action, threatening fines, contractors at his expense, even a lien on his home if he didn't scrub it clean within 7 days. James sighed, tossing the letter onto the kitchen counter. He'd already bought degreaser, planning to tackle it Saturday. But to Cassandra, this wasn't just a stain. It was a personal attack on her vision of suburban perfection. Another love note for Mrs. Holt, Dad? A bright voice broke through his frustration. James turned, his tension easing at the sight of his 10-year-old son, Ethan, maneuvering his motorized wheelchair into the kitchen. Ethan's hazel eyes sparkled with warmth, his smile so radiant it could melt any father's annoyance. His small frame was cradled by a custom chair, a network of thin tubes connected to a quiet pump that delivered life-sustaining nutrition through a gastrostomy tube hidden under his superhero t-shirt. This was their normal, a reality James had woven into their lives with fierce love. "Yeah, champ," James said, managing a grin. "She thinks that little spot on the driveway is going to tank the neighborhood's property values." Ethan's smile dimmed slightly. "Is she super mad this time?" At his age, Ethan could sense a Cassandra Holt encounter brewing, and they rarely ended well. "She's just obsessed with her rules, buddy," James said carefully. "Nothing for you to worry about. How about that walk we planned? Sun's perfect, and Mrs. Larson said her roses are blooming. Maybe we'll spot that new puppy." Ethan's face lit up, and they set off down Willow Grove's pristine sidewalks, where mailboxes stood in uniform rows and lawns were sculpted to perfection. These walks were sacred, a quiet escape from James's demanding job and the logistics of Ethan's care. As they passed Mrs. Larson's house, the elderly woman waved, her white hair glowing in the sunlight. "James, Ethan, enjoying this gorgeous day?" she called, tending her roses. "Your flowers look amazing, Mrs. Larson," James replied warmly. Ethan grinned. "We're hoping to see the puppy." Mrs. Larson chuckled, then lowered her voice, glancing toward Cassandra's flawless home up the street. "Speaking of trouble, I saw Cassandra on the warpath earlier. Something about Mr. Thompson's wind chimes being too noisy. Honestly, that woman." She shook her head. "I knew her mother, you know. Cassandra had a tough time years ago with her younger sister, who was very sick, needed constant care. Cassandra carried that burden, especially after their mom passed. It changed her, made her so rigid, obsessed with control. Still, no excuse for making everyone miserable." She patted Ethan's arm. "You two enjoy your walk. Don't let anyone ruin it." James thanked her, but her words stuck with him. A sick sister, a heavy past it, didn't justify Cassandra's tyranny, but it painted her in a new, troubling light. Their peaceful stroll didn't last. Like a storm cloud breaking, Cassandra Holt appeared from her manicured garden, striding toward them with the intensity of a general. Her blonde hair, stiff as a helmet, caught the light in a way that felt almost threatening. "Mr. Harper," she snapped, her voice slicing the air. "A word." James kept his tone polite. "Afternoon, Cassandra. Nice day, isn't it?" Ethan fell silent, sensing the shift. "Nice, perhaps, if people followed community standards," she huffed, her eyes zeroing in on the oil stain they'd just passed. "That stain's been there 4 days, James. The rules are clear driveways must be pristine. I trust you'll fix it immediately." James clenched his jaw. "It's on my list for this weekend, Cassandra." Her gaze flicked to Ethan, and her face softened in a way that felt jarring, almost staged. "Oh, Ethan, sweet boy," she cooed, her voice dripping with false warmth. "How are you feeling? That sun's strong. Are you comfortable?" James and Ethan exchanged a confused glance. This was new, and it felt wrong. "I'm okay, Mrs. Holt," Ethan mumbled, wary. "You know, James," Cassandra continued, her smile unnervingly bright. "I read about new advancements in pediatric mobility. It must be so hard managing all this." She waved vaguely at Ethan's chair. "My heart goes out to you. You're such a good father." James was speechless. Cassandra, offering sympathy? It felt like a trap. "In fact," she said, digging in her purse, "I have a little treat for Ethan for being so brave." She pulled out a chocolate bar, handing it to him with a beaming smile. Ethan looked at James, who nodded hesitantly. "Thank you," Ethan said softly. "Not at all," Cassandra purred. "And, James, if the HOA can help with any accommodations for Ethan, just ask. We're a community, after all." She even patted Ethan's shoulder, a gesture so out of character it sent a chill down James's spine. Then her eyes narrowed, locking onto the pump on Ethan's chair. "Speaking of helping, that tube there, the one to his stomach, it looks loose, doesn't it? We wouldn't want it to come undone. Let me just fix it." Before James could react, her hand shot out not toward the pump, but straight for the feeding tube at Ethan's abdomen. Her fingers clamped around the delicate silicone, and the mask of kindness vanished, replaced by cold, triumphant rage. "He needs to eat like a normal child," she shrieked, her voice raw with venom. With a vy-sized tug, she ripped the tube free and, in a horrifying arc, hurled it into the busy street, where cars roared past. Time slowed to a sickening crawl. The tube, Ethan's lifeline, sailed through the air and landed on the asphalt. Ethan let out a sharp, terrified cry that tore through James's heart. A dark sedan approached, its driver unaware, and with a gut-wrenching crunch, the front tire crushed the tube. Nausea and fury surged through James, nearly buckling his knees. For a split second, he was frozen, rage and disbelief warring within him. Then instinct kicked in gears as a police chief and a primal drive to protect his son. "Ethan!" he barked, his hands already moving, checking the stoma beneath Ethan's shirt for bleeding, his mind racing through emergency protocols. Ethan sobbed, his face pale with shock. "Daddy, it hurts." "She hurt me." "I know, buddy." "Daddy's here," James murmured, forcing calm into his voice while his soul burned. His eyes locked onto Cassandra, who stood rigid, a manic glint in her eyes as if she'd just saved the neighborhood. "There," she spat, dusting her hands. "Problem solved." James rose, his full height towering over her, his face a mask of controlled fury. Without a word, he pulled out his phone. 911, this is Police Chief James Harper. Pediatric medical emergency, G-tube dislodgement, possible stoma trauma. 14, Maple Lane, Willow Grove. 10-year-old male, conscious, extreme distress. Tube destroyed. Suspect in custody. He grabbed his badge and radio. Dispatch, Chief Harper. Code 3 incident. Full traffic lockdown, Maple Lane to Oak Street. Medical emergency and crime scene. All units now. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder. Cassandra's smug expression faltered, replaced by dawning fear. "What are you doing?" she stammered. "You can't use police resources for this." James ignored her, his focus on Ethan and the approaching paramedics. Patrol cars screeched into place, blocking the street in seconds. An ambulance pulled up, and medics rushed to Ethan. James explained the situation, his voice tight. Only then did he turn to Cassandra, now ashen. "Cassandra Lynn Holt, you're under arrest for felony assault on a minor, reckless endangerment, and pending re-VYEW, attempted manslaughter." Her jaw dropped. "Manslaughter? Are you insane? It was just a tube." "That tube," James said, his gaze piercing, "was my son's lifeline. You threatened his life." Officers cuffed her as she shrieked about her HOA status and James's badge. Neighbors emerged, shocked, some secretly pleased. Ethan was loaded into the ambulance, and James cast one last glance at Cassandra, her reign crumbling. At the hospital, Ethan got a new tube, a painful process he faced bravely. James handed the case to Captain Laura Mendez, stepping back to be a father and witness. Cassandra was booked. Her husband, Greg, mortified. "Manslaughter, Cassandra," he whispered. "They say you tried to kill the Harper boy." "It's absurd," she snapped, but fear flickered in her eyes. Greg mentioned her sister, Emily, who'd been disabled, and a burden Cassandra resented. Her reaction raw, pain spoke volumes. The trial was a spectacle. Security footage showed Cassandra's act, and medical experts detailed the tube's critical role. James testified, steady but emotional. Cassandra's defense unraveled when she took the stand, erupting under questioning about Emily. "She was a burden. People should be normal, not like him," she screamed, pointing where Ethan had sat earlier. The jury convicted her in hours. Assault, endangerment, attempted manslaughter. Sentenced to 10 years, she was ordered to pay restitution. Judge Clara Morton condemned her. "You turned your pain into malice, targeting an innocent child." Willow Grove healed slowly. Ethan recovered with therapy, though nightmares lingered. He and James kept walking, planting a maple tree as a symbol of resilience. One evening, Ethan asked, "Dad, is Mrs. Holt sorry because of her sister?" James paused. "I hope she finds peace, son, but her sorrow doesn't change what she did. You're safe now." Cassandra's house sold. Her appeals failed, and the story became a cautionary tale of trauma twisted into cruelty and a father's love backed by justice. What do you think? Was Cassandra's past a reason for her actions, or just an excuse for cruelty? Should James have shown mercy, or was justice served? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more stories that spark debate.